Everyone, it's Miss Cecilia. Thank you so much for joining me and the Hot Pog Library today for an iMovie tutorial. We will be learning some super basic features of iMovie that you can hopefully use at home to create your very own films. I will be showing you today how I put together my storytime videos that you may see on our Facebook page. So today you will be learning some basic editing skills such as importing and trimming a video clip, creating transitions to allow your clips to flow seamlessly into one another, as well as adding audio and titles to create your video. All right, so let's get started. I have iMovie opened up here, and there's two different ways that you can create a new movie. So in this projects tab here, which is where you will be creating your new project, you could either click on this icon here, or you could go up to File and select New Movie up here. The difference between the movie and the trailer feature is that the movie feature is more customizable, so you have more editing capabilities and freedoms, whereas the trailer provides a template for you to follow. I personally prefer the movie feature, so that's what we will be doing today. So once you click on that, it brings you to the main editing page. This is where we will be for the majority of our tutorial. And I'll just take you through some of the basic functions that you can do here and what some of the basic buttons are. So this is the My Media tab, and this is where you can import different media to use in your film. This is the audio tab, so preloaded sound effects that come with your Mac, and it may look different depending on what version of iMovie you have. If you want to venture into GarageBand and make your own music and sound effects, that is awesome too. Or you can use things from iTunes, but just be careful with copyright and give proper permissions. The next tab is the Titles tab, and here you can select an array of ways to arrange text throughout your clip. Next we have the backgrounds, and these are simply the backgrounds or the slides that you can insert at any point throughout your video. Oop. Creating a world map. It takes a while to generate those. They're fun and interactive though. And the last tab is the transition. So these are the features that you use to transition from one clip to the next. So back to My Media, you can import your media this way by clicking here and selecting a file from your computer. Or you could be like me and just save it, whatever file you want to use, to your desktop and drag it in. I find this to be a little easier. So this is the introduction for my story time that will be featured in October. And this is me reading the story. So what I like to do first is watch through all of my clips to make sure that there aren't any errors or mistakes or places that I want to, adjust. And you could always go in and adjust things, but sometimes refilming is the way to go. So I like to just give a preliminary look through to see if I need anything like that. And we'll also draw your attention to this tool right here. If I go like this, it gives you a literal second by second breakdown. You could see how slow the clip is moving up here as opposed to how fast my mouse is moving. So this is, it'll give you very precise seconds when you are editing. Whereas if you put it all the way this way, it condenses it a lot. So this works if you have a much longer video that you are editing. But for our purposes, I like to be kind of somewhere in between. So you'll notice when I click on the video clip, it is surrounded in a yellow border. That means the clip has been selected. And I would like to draw your attention to some of these features up here above our video preview. This button here is an auto enhancer. which could be useful, but I would just beware of it because sometimes it adjusts certain levels that you may not necessarily need to be adjusted. This feature allows you to change the color balance in your video, and this feature pretty much does the same thing, but you just do it manually. So you could go like this, you could go like this, you could go like this, and if you don't like it all, you can just reset it. This button here allows you to crop the video or rotate it around any which way you'd like. This icon here is a feature that you can use if your filming was a little shaky. It aims to stabilize the video so it stays straighter. This button here allows you to control the audio levels. This button here controls the background noise or the background audio levels. This button allows you to control the speed of the clip, so you can either slow it down, speed it up, freeze a particular frame, or customize it. This button here allows you to choose different effects. If you wanted to muffle something or add some sort of background noise, or if you wanted to change clips in general. And this last feature here just shows you some general information about the clip itself. So the first thing I like to do when these clips are imported is to watch it through and note if there are any errors that I would like to take out, or if there are any clips that I want to trim. So there's a few ways you could do this, and I will show you some examples. So for instance, at the end of this clip here, and I'll play it for you so you could see.
What happens to Pow Fish when he goes to school?
So you could see that right here, I reached for the pause button to stop the video. So to make it a little more seamless, I would like to cut that out. So I'm going to take the clip here and literally drag it in to where I'd like the video to stop. So now if I play it, oh, I cut it a little too far, so now I'm gonna drag it out again, and let's see. There we go. So that is one way that you can trim your clips. Now, if you found something in the middle here that you, I hope you enjoy my silly faces as I am singing and reading in this story time. I have a lot of fun making these, just as a sidebar. But anyway, for instance, if I had found that I, messed up or made a mistake in the middle of a clip here, you can right click and you can see a bunch of different options here. So the one I want to point out is split clip, and it splits your clip right over here. So you can then do the same thing as we did before and drag it in. And you can always revert back by either using the commands Control Z or Command Z, oh, there it goes, on your keyboard. Next, we will be talking about transitions. So for instance, right here, we'll go back here. I end my introduction and I start reading the story. So it would be really great if I can make this a seamless transition. Well, let me bring your attention to this top bar up here. A lot goes on up here. We have the different media selection, we have our audio files, our titles that we could add in. We'll talk about that later, as well as the backgrounds. But right now I want to focus your attention to the transitions. And there are a lot of cool transitions here. You could preview them before you select them. And one of my all-time favorites is the cross dissolve. It's very seamless. It makes for a very easy transition. It's not loud. It's very subtle. So this is one of my go-tos. But for the story times, I like it to be a little more fun for the kids. And I think the circle open is a perfect transition to, oh, I lost it. Make sure you really click it and drag it all the way between the clips that you want the transition to take place. So now if I play it, oh, there we go. Now if I play it, So you can see that the transition opens the circle between the two clips here. So now that we've talked about trimming clips and splitting clips and adding in a transition, we can talk about adding an audio file. So I like there to be a little bit of music in the background sometimes. So depending on the version of iMovie that you are using, you may have different audio clips. So you select audio, and you could even make your own if you're super fancy like that. I personally have not ventured into the GarageBand application and created my own tunes, but you can definitely play around with it. I know a lot of people who have a lot of fun with that. But there are a bunch of preloaded ones that you can use in your iMovie application. And you could see that they're organized by genre. You could organize it by time or by the name if you know what you're looking for. A whole bunch of different things here. I personally like the jingles. Those are ones that are like more musical, I guess you could say. So let's see if I could find one of my favorite ones. The time-lapse one is a favorite one of mine. So you could give it a listen, see if you like it. And then once you decide on the clip you want, you simply drag it down here. But now you'll notice if I play it, you can't really hear what I'm saying. So there are two ways to address this. The first way would be to play with the volume of the music itself. So you can do that by dragging this yellow line down or up, and it'll inform you what the percentage of loudness, I guess you could say, the percentage of the volume that the clip will play at. And you can do the same tidbit with your own audio from your clip. So now if I play it,
Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Hilly here, and thank you so much for joining me in the hot.
you can tell that the audio is still there. You can still hear it in the background, but it's not overpowering the audio that I ultimately want my audience to hear. Another way that you can edit the audio clips is in this top bar up here, right above your video preview. You can go right here to the audio icon, and you can adjust the audio from this bar as well. I personally find it a little easier to edit it down here because I can really play and go back and forth with it. Again, I hope you're enjoying my facial expressions. All right, and then what you can do, you see that this clip is pretty short. You could simply copy it and then paste another one right after it, or you can drag it right down into it. You can also fade in and out the audio. So I'll show you what that looks like here. So I'm going to fade the end of this audio and play it right before.
So, we start by...
So you see how it got very quiet.
We start our story time.
And now it's getting louder. So you can play around with that as well if you want a certain portion of your video to not have as much audio in the background. You could play around with it that way. And the same way that we trimmed our video clips and split our video clips, you could do the same exact thing with your audio clips. So you could drag the end and make it end wherever you'd like. You could click on a specific portion, right click, and you can split it if you'd like. If you want to get really, really fancy, you could even go up here to the little time clock and you can adjust the speed. So you can make the music slower, you can make it faster. And this feature is really cool in the actual audio as well. So once you click on the video clip, you click on the video clip and you click on the little clock up here. You could adjust the speed. So I can make it fast and see how it gets condensed, and now I'm gonna sound like a chipmunk, but I'll show you what it sounds like. But these could be, this is a way to edit if there's like a portion of your video that you kind of want to go over a little faster, but you still want your audience to see what you're doing. So if you're doing a craft or a cooking video or something of that sort, you can speed up the clip. And you could customize how fast you want it to. So it could be 2 times as fast, 4 times, 8 times, 20 times, But there's also even a custom option here. But let's go. Lastly, I would like to talk to you about adding in title slides or background slides. So sometimes as an introduction, up here I'm going to direct you to go to backgrounds. You can insert a slide. These are fun animated slides. Oh, it's taking a second to load up here. Oh, okay. These are fun animated slides. So you could choose whatever you'd like. I personally like the paper because I feel like it makes the words stand out more. But now that you have this in, the same way you can adjust your video clips, you could also make this longer or shorter depending on how long you want the clip to appear for. And then I want to add in a title slide. So I'll go up here to titles, and you can choose any one of these options here, whatever you like best. So if I wanted this one, I'm going to drag it in. And same deal, you can make it longer or shorter. But now that I'm clicked on here, I'm going to go over to my video preview, and you could type in exactly what you want. So I'm going to say story time. Ooh, there we go. And then I'll say with Miss Cecilia. And now when we play it through, you could see it come up like that. When you're up here in this editing format, you might have to play around with how big the words are. You could play around with the font. You might have to play around and see what works best for your video and for your taste. Yeah, so there's a lot of fun features up here that you can play around with as well. If you wanted, you could add in a transition before this slide, and then you could add a transition after the slide to go into your video footage. So a lot of this is personal preference and, you know, basically your personalization and how you want your video to look. So for me, I like to add in a little bit of a cross blur here, and then you could see that it kind of seamlessly blends into the next clip. I like this to be a little longer so that it looks a little something like this. And it fades right on in. So now that we've added those in, there's a few other places I like to add. Sometimes over here, I'll add in a slide. So if I go to backgrounds and add in another slide, I'll add in another title. Let's pick this one this time. And I'll say, get your listening ears ready. So we want to make sure those kitties are listening to our story. So once you have that in there, you can see how it goes. And then I might want to get another transition over here. So a lot of it is playing around. So I'm going to drag this out even a little bit now that I'm watching it back. So you'll notice that the feature, the program, is pretty forgiving. So just how I edited this clip before and I trimmed it back, I was able to pull it back out and adjust it later on as I, went back in and did some more editing. So whatever you do end up doing, there's always a way to get your original footage back or to fix it. So never let it stress you out. There's always a way to work around it. And last but not least, I like to add in a last slide. So I'll show you again what I do over here. So I go back to backgrounds, drag in another, get another title going, drag it in, and you can see a lot of it is pretty repetitive. Ooh, make sure you click on the actual text box and you type in what you want to say. Ooh, let's spell things right. That's helpful. Make sure you look over your video before you finish it, just to look for those little errors. And then you could add in some transitions if you'd like. So I'll make this a cross dissolve, and I could adjust how long I wanted it to go for. So if you double click, You can see I can adjust the duration if I wanted to. And then I'm going to have it fade to white at the end. And it looks a little something like this.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, see, now I noticed that you can notice me clicking at the end. So there I go, and I pull it right in. And let's see.
Bye, everyone.
And there you go, it's more of a seamless ending. So there you have it, everyone. Those are the basics, the little tips that I've learned through my storytime making adventures. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope you learned something new, that you now know how to add in different video clips, how to trim those video clips once you have them added, as well as how to add audio files and different sounds and how to adjust those sounds, how to add in title slides and put different words and phrases on your titles. So I hope this was really helpful for you. If you have any questions, please respond in the comments. If you'd like to see more content like this, also let us know. And thank you so much for joining. We'll see you guys soon.